guys? Tiger Brinson here to give you a review on this new television show that aired 2 days ago called The Bastard Executioner. It was made by Kurt Sutter, who actually created the Sons of Anarchy series, a very popular show about a group of bikers, and I really enjoyed it because I'm really into gaming. I'm really into Game of Thrones type stuff, and that's what this show was. It's set in medieval times in the 14th century, and we follow this guy Wilkin Brattle, who was a warrior for Longshanks King Edward I. He was a knight, and he turned away from that because in his darkest hour, just as he's about to be slain on the battlefield, an angel-like creature saves him from death and tells him to lay down his sword and live a peaceful life. A life of a different man. So he becomes a farmer, he hooks up with this really beautiful chick, and she's prego, but not everything's so good, because these farmers are trying to mess with this other group who's basically trying to take their crap, so he takes on the guise of the group's executioner. They shank a couple mofos, and that kind of sets the show's events in motion. The first thing I want to talk about is the CGI. The CGI is god-awful. Matter of fact, the blood is god-awful. All the effects in the show are really bad up until the moment where he decapitated that guy. That was pretty awesome. But there's one scene where he goes to his friend and he closes his friend's eyes and he's crying, and then his friend's skin shifts and this dragon thing comes out of it, and the dragon starts to grow and crap. And it's just so CGI. It's so cartoony looking. It's just kind of stupid to watch. And the blood, it's not real blood. The blood's too perfectly placed. Instead of blood, it looks like these stripped up ketchup marks that they just put on the actors. Other than that, I enjoyed the fight scenes because the fight scenes were pretty wild and pretty brutal. This wasn't organized. These people were fighting a very savage battle, because at one point in the story, Wilkin Brattle, after he kind of screws with that other group, the leader of that group sends his men to take down his village, and right away it's this show takes no prisoner. They slit this little boy's throat, and after that it's just complete mayhem. They're killing women, children. They're burning this village to the ground. And Wilkin Brattle's girl, his wife, basically, she runs off because one of the knights, because not all of these guys agree. So, one of the knights who was there slaughtering all these people, he's like, okay, get out of here, go, run away, get out of here. And the idiot stops, to rest at a river, and we come across, a real cliche moment in a show where, we see the camera from the person's point of view, and the character that we've been following, they stand up, and instead of saying the person's name whose perspective we're following, they say you. They use very ambiguous titles, when in real life that doesn't work. In real life, I see you coming towards me, I'm gonna be like, hey Nate, what's up? Or hey Jack, what's up? I'm not gonna say you. So that was very corny. And the guy, he guts her like a fish and then paints a bloody cross on her forehead. And so Wilkin and his gang of old men and young farmer kids, they arrive, and his whole village wiped out. So he gets up his sword and he plans on taking revenge. Now, where the effects do go right is with the teeth. See, back in the 14th century, you were considered clean if you bathed once every 3 months, and there was really no toothpaste. So we see a lot, except for the main character, we see all the other characters have pretty messed up teeth. They look like they've been eating shrimp. They got really messed up yellowish teeth, and it's very gross looking. And I like that little added effect, because to them back then that was normal. But the main guy, no, he's the only one with perfectly, even his wife has messed up teeth. He's the only one with perfectly white teeth. And he's the only one that looks like a supermodel. No homo. Not that it's but he's the only one that looks like a supermodel. What the heck? And I just didn't like that. But otherwise, the teeth effect, that was just a nice little subtle effect that really helped me get into the story. But then we have some problems. After a pretty large battle sequence, all the bodies are stacked up and piled, and my dad was sitting with me, and he's like, "Where are the vultures? There aren't any bugs. Like, there are corpses everywhere." And he's like, it's like Wilkin Brattle's talking to the witch lady who's played by Kurt Sutter's wife, who was on Sons of Anarchy, played Gemma. I forget her real name. Katie Seagal, that's her name. Yeah, so, and he's like, "Where's the vultures and stuff?" Like, I get she's talking to him, but, like, where, like, in real life, vultures and bugs would be picking away at these corpses. And it's like, he was right. Now, when the plot starts to get good, where it started to get good for me, is after that huge battle, and after the lady convinces him to pick back up his sword and become an executioner and live under this false identity. It's where it got good, because this guy is just, I don't know, he's following this beaten path. And, you know, you can tell all he wants is peace, but he doesn't get it. So she draws a cross on him. She has him pretend to be one of the guys that died in battle, so him and his buddies won't get followed anymore. And he journeys with his friend, and he takes on the identity of another executioner who was really creepy, Maddox. This guy reminded me of, like, Ramsay Snow, if Ramsay Snow had a mental breakdown, because he's crazy. Like, the first time we see him, he is, like, mutilating this guy. He strips the flesh off of his body, and the guy's just tied up taking it. And he's very abusive. Like, he's so insecure that he takes it out on his son. Because when his son forgets the medical bag, he pimp slaps the crap out of this dude. He, woo, bang, bang, like just a quick whip. And you knew the son knew it was coming, like, because the son was acting like Tina Turner, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, Ike, don't hit me. No, please. And he's like, well, pow! Big old fat slap. So, yeah, Maddox dies in battle. He gets a spear through the neck by a little kid. So, the executioner takes on his name. And, one guy, when they reach the town and they bring the dead body of the queen's husband, one guy's calling them on their crap immediately. Like, this is not the executioner. And the dude's own brother uses this advantage to have his own brother decapitated, so he can use Wilkin Brattle for his own, like, purposes. So Wilkin is now trapped there because Maddox had a wife and a son and another baby, so he has to pretend like that's his family. And the guy who's now running the joint, the guy who we see, like, butt pumping this one dude like 50 minutes into the show, he's not allowing him to leave. He's not going to allow Wilkin Brattle to leave. He's like, oh no, you have a nice little house set up here. Your skills are going to serve me well. And then we get to the most awesome scene I've been waiting for ever since I saw the trailer. The beheading scene. He picks up... The one problem for me with this scene was the executioner sword. It was beautifully crafted. It was huge. But he picks it up like a butter knife. It just seemed a little too light. Like, it would have been a lot better for me to get into the story if he hefted it. Because I get he's a strong guy, but even when you're a strong guy, something heavy like that, you're going to at least have to heft it. And I would have liked it if he stared at the blade a little longer. But other than that, the scene was beautiful. He has a vision of his wife and his son, who was never born, but he's kind of born in this metaphysical world. And the angel chick who saved his life all those years ago takes him away, and that gives him the strength to behead the guy. And he beheads him, and that's how we end the episode. And they do this awesome black and white thing that I'm really enjoying, and I really hope they keep. They did this awesome black and white thing throughout the whole 2-hour pilot, and I really enjoyed it. So overall, The Bastard Executioner for me gets a 7 out of 10. I thought it was really well done. The effects were crap, but the story and the characters were engaging. So, thumbs up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a nice day.